All right, I'm looking at all my levels here. We look good. Marc Wagner here, DentalBytes. This is wild. Like this represents. This is halfway through 2025. Like, how the heck? How the heck does like? It seems like time is. Is it speeding up? I don't know. Is that kind of like a you get older and that happens? Like it seems. I don't know. It's crazy. I hope everybody's having a great 2025. I started out 2025 with my guest here coming on in a sec. We got into sort of goal setting and staying on track and how life can throw things at you unexpectedly sometimes, and just keeping your head up and powering forward. We're gonna get into that. He works for a company that here at Dentist on Demand we truly believe in. He works for CareCru, which is like a fantastic front end software. It's pretty popular out in the Canadian market, that's for sure. One of the reasons why we love it is the online booking portion of it, and I will let him talk about it because I'm gonna butcher it. So if I can press some buttons here and bring Matt on. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing okay. Like you said, midway through the year, and I know we connected early on, and you know what? This is the third time we've actually connected on this show, so feel honored to be back again. I don't know how many three-peats you've had on this, but
Not too many,
I always
man.
look forward to these conversations because we end up just going down these rabbit holes, and it makes me reflect on the year, on where I'm going, on speaking with people again with that authentic vibe that you give off. And this is as important for me as hopefully it can be for some other people. And as we were discussing off air and we'll get into today, 2025 has been interesting, I think, for both of us. So I think bringing some of that realness today, I think hopefully will remind some people that that's okay, but there's also some steps we can take to make sure we're taking care of ourselves in different ways. So
yeah, I agree. I just find like the more and more I'm myself, and these aren't like, there's no script in these things. Like I just, there's no, like we have no idea what we're going to get ourselves into today, which is, I like that, I think that just kind of brings out like whatever is on the surface sometimes, and then you can dive deeper if you want. But how the heck has your 2025 been? You were kind of alluding to it's been a bit of a challenge, Matt. Like, is everything all right?
Yeah, it's so going back to the last episode, which was at the start of the year, I had just come off of 2024 where there was a lot of highs. There was a lot of goals or visions that I had to say, okay, at this time I want to hit this. There's some things that were in the air, in the works, and sometimes it doesn't always play out that way. So for those of you who may not have caught that, at the end of 2024, went on a trip with my wife. We got to see Southeast Asia, and I had a medical emergency on the way home. Rapidly, so I ended up in a hospital in Dubai at the airport, got home, was sick for a few weeks, lost 10 pounds, and that was sort of the start of what turned into a lot of personal family issues that, again, just derail any momentum that you have. So up into this point of 2025, it's almost like I don't want to answer the phone. I don't want to check that email. I don't want to try something new because I've retreated in a little bit and I have some fear of what is to come next. And I've just been going through the motions. A really tragic event in February, lost my father-in-law suddenly. My mother had a really difficult health scare that was kind of unknown for 7 to 10 days, which really threw the family for a loop. All while taking on some new projects at work that the workload, it just always gets more. I want to put more pressure on myself, but it made me really step back to try and put other people in the spotlight to make sure they were being taken care of, which I take pride in. That's what I feel like I'm here to do. But when you finally slow down sometimes and you just look at what's going on with yourself and those long-term goals, and they're just not necessarily showing up, and it's scary. So it's been a tough 6 months. But if anything, what this has taught me is that the values I try and bring to my life, to my work, to my family, to my relationships, I'm still keeping true to those the best I can. And I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, but that doesn't mean that it's not difficult to try and maintain those in moments when you are tested.
So Matt, what you explained to me is like, okay, good. I'm not talking to a robot. You're human. First of all, man, I'm sorry. I've been, following your social, and I saw your posts. So my condolences to you and to your family and to your, your significant other. That's loss is tough, isn't it? Like and a sudden, unexpected. Like how's your wife doing?
It's tough. So it's that adjustment period, and we actually just had a celebration of life this past weekend. We wanted to give it some time where we could actually have a celebration of life.
Yeah.
We went to his favorite craft brewery. We all wore Hawaiian shirts because that was his thing.
Oh,
So
I love it.
and I had to give a speech, or I actually volunteered to give the speech because I wanted to make sure that some of these things that were so valuable to me, as someone not directly in that family to start out with, obviously I was born or raised into it, is that I've lost family, I've lost people. I've never lost someone that suddenly, and I've never lost someone who was a really close friend. That he was my father-in-law. I have a lot of father figures in my life. As you know, I've lost my father young, but he was a father figure. But to me, he was a friend, and I've never lost that person that I can remember, or just had that impact. So dealing with that aspect of it, my wife, my mother-in-law, of course, is that you can't explain it. You can't control an emotion. You can't control the outcome. So trying to play that role of being, okay, I can be steady. I can try and be that reasonable voice. And it's the moments of weakness, of grief, of anger, frustration, those phases, is that the primary focus was them. But at the same time, I needed to make sure that, again, I had that outlet to be able to express my emotion. And that's where I'm different from my family, where, again, you alluded to a social post that I wanted to put some words down of what he meant to me. That was more healing for me, more so than just necessarily getting that out. And to hear people 3 months later from that post at this event on the weekend come up and said, oh, that's the guy who wrote that post. These things that just brought out that authentic meaning of what he was to other people. So it's funny how you can heal some ways in various methods or various methodologies. That, to me, that was the way to do that, and not let's put attention on me. Is that I needed to put that in paper or digitally, or I needed to speak that. So I've learned a lot in the last couple of months, again, about being a friend, being a husband, being a support person. So yeah, it's definitely consumed a lot. It's changed long-term goals in regards to personal, where do I want to be, in regards to just certain things we had planned, is that, okay, those go in the back burner right now. And that's okay. It doesn't mean those are done, but it also reminds you, take action when you can. But sometimes things do just work out for a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason we didn't make some major changes that we had thought about 3-4 months ago based on a very successful 2024. So it's it's been a full circle 6 months, and not to make it all doom and gloom, but
no,
it's again, lean. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I lost my sister 5 years ago. I feel it. I feel that. It's the finite reality of our time here is something that really, in those moments, really drive out the kind of the human element of our time, right? Like that reflection, that, forever thing is such a, it's something that I think everybody eventually faces some way or another. And then inevitably, facing that yourself, like we don't get to be here forever, right? So, the 5 years after my sister, it's the moments and that energy that you get from somebody like that void is, it's a significant thing that it just doesn't ever. It's a wound that doesn't go away. Um, like it's a tough thing to face. Obviously, like I'm just trying to put the best words to it right now. But for me, it's I remember the initial point of the loss, and it's such like a I know where you're at right now. Like it draws you to this spot where you're just trying to reel and put your emotions and everything into place and understand. It's so tough. Like, and I'm very sorry. And it's, it comes to a point. This is where I took it. Like it's those people never go away. They're with you in that memory. They're with you in those those little pockets in your mind where you bring it up. Like I remember sitting, this vivid memory of sitting with my sister in Maui, like her favorite place on the beach, just having a great like conversation with her, the sunset. Like I can see the colors and hear the sounds. Like I think that's where the healing happens, is in those moments. It's not so much the finite sudden, in your case, is just so much more like it's like a light, the what light switch thing is unexpected stuff. Is like, wow, like that's a blow. And I can't imagine. My sister was sick for 2 years, and like I had time, like obviously seeing her in the position that she was for that long and dealing with her battle with cancer, at least you could prepare yourself in a way, even though it was like awful, obviously. But it's crazy. Like, I don't know, like, like that is, and somebody like yourself too, like you and I are very alike in that sense, like making sense of it all. And I just don't think it ever will fully, to be honest. And it's how do we keep going for them, we keep moving forward for them. I think that's we owe it to them, and whatever religion or spirituality or whatever you believe, you can still feel them. They're still with us. And a special thing that Cindy, when she was here, she used to do is she would find a dime, right? She'd find a dime and, and say that, okay, if she's found a dime, somebody from heaven is thinking about me. So, and now like, I will find dimes in the most, like I'll be driving around. Okay, so this is, I'm going to ramble for a bit because I don't know, it's my turn. I was driving around downtown Vancouver. I couldn't find a bloody parking space. I was in this underground, and these underground parking spaces, they make them so bloody small. So I'm trying to like, I can't get into this spot. And I tried like 5 different spots. I was getting super frustrated, like, like I can't, and I've got a project I got to work on. I got to go up, a couple floors into this dental practice to shoot a video. And finally, like I spot this spot, and it's like, oh my, like there's like, it's the most room. Like, and I jut over there, park. I open up my driver's side door and look down, and there's a dime sitting, like perfectly placed, like outside of the driver door. And like somebody probably just, opened up their door and it dropped there. But the fact that I didn't park in all these other spots, and so happened to like park in this one spot. And then I was with a friend up in Seashell. I was helping him like get his cabin cleaned up for the summertime. We go there every so often to like, just hang out, be buddies and chit chat. And I was cleaning, and I found 2 dimes under the couch, right? So it's like, oh, my sister's thinking about you too, right? So anyways, losses, I don't know. So like personally, how, like, where are you at with it? Where in your journey and your reflection, like, how do you feel right now? And like, are you okay? Like, you know that I'm always here for you too, Matt. Like,
Yeah, no, and I appreciate just again hearing the more details in some of the background with your sister. But what I've learned the last, especially 6 weeks or so, is this is the initial stage. Of course, it's a blur, but you learn again is that if you have a solid foundation of what it is or who it is that you are and what's important to you, even going through all of this, is that again the health and fitness lifestyle that we've talked about before, is that okay, that doesn't change. Is that I can be sad, but I'm still going to stick to my morning routines. That's who I am. I didn't change that. So it's like, okay, this is part of me being authentic. And one of the things with him is just he would enjoy sports so much that it wasn't necessarily the result. It was he wanted to enjoy a good game. He wanted it to be play right. He wanted it to the players to actually treat the game with respect. And I remember going back to my days when I was playing junior hockey, is that he would come with my girlfriend, fiance at the time, now wife, is that I was a goaltender and we would see him cheering when the other team scored. I just didn't understand that. It was because he appreciated what had happened. And sure, he would want me to win at the end of the day, but he would applaud something that was done correctly or something that was worthwhile. And it made me laugh a little bit. A couple Wednesdays ago was his birthday, and we cheer on rival soccer teams. So he's a big Arsenal football supporter. I'm a Manchester United fan. Well, Arsenal happened to be playing on his birthday after he had passed, and I thought, just for tonight, I will cheer for them. I told myself that all day, and 5 minutes into kickoff, it's like, nope, I hope they get absolutely battered. And because that's what he would have wanted. That was authentic. I wasn't bending who I was for the moment.
Yeah.
So it's little things like that. Again, it sort of gave me that recognition to say, okay, I live my life very structured to a way that I think fits my core values and my wife as well. Is that, again, there's going to be blips, but sometimes those other things are just so ingrained in who you are. And that's important to remember. Is that sure, you'll make adjustments. You're going to have these moments where you need to be outside of your comfort zone. And there's been a few of those the last 8 weeks for sure. But at the end of the day, I can watch a sporting event and I can still find the release in that to be able to say, okay, you know what, for these 90 minutes, let's forget about all of what's going on. Let's just enjoy sports. That could be a movie. That could be an event, going for a walk, something that you enjoy. We've tried to keep those up while, of course, adapting to new things. So and same with work, is that some people dive into work as a distraction. It's like, no, if this is what I can make a difference on and I can control my effort level, I can control the outcome, that brings calm as well in the chaos of what a day-to-day is. And I take on a lot more than I probably should, but that's okay, because that's what also makes me feel good, is that I can do these things. So yeah, the last couple of weeks as we make plans for next steps, is that it's, again, there's that rewarding sense of it as well, but also I still sometimes go, and he was old school email, didn't have a cell phone, a flip phone actually, watching a sporting event at 10 o'clock to fire him an email, a one-liner. It's like, oh, that's right. So those are sometimes you just get lost and you forget. So, but we'll never forget. And you know that as well, is that now it becomes the memories, the stories you haven't heard, the ones that you want to tell. So that's part of that next step, is that you're not leaving it in the past. You're just exploring different ways to be able to honor that. So again, it ties into full circle in life, is that these are going to all happen over time. Things like this are going to happen. Hopefully they don't all happen in clumps as they have with some things, but you get through it. And it's tough to say. It's like, you have to, there's no option. You still need to keep going. So it's having that foundation for yourself and those people around you. That's why it's key. Build those relationships, build those networks, have those things that just make you happy, and lean on those ones when you can, because you take them for granted at times until you really realize, okay, in the moment, those are what you need. It's
beautiful, Matt. You're right. I couldn't add anything extra to that other than the fact that, like, it makes you reflect on how much we might not realize it at the point, but like how we do take things for granted, and and how quickly time goes when we're enjoying something, and how slow it goes when we're kind of dragging in some sort of in the situation that that's difficult. And then just seeing, I think it, highlights the moments of time that we really need to be present, right? For me, that's what, the reflection of our finite nature of being alive. That's what it does for me is, it will remind me in the moments where I am looking at an email and my daughter or my son would be like, daddy, look at this. And I'm in the moment, you're like, shit, I'm trying to focus on answering this fucking email that I've been trying to answer for the last 2 hours. But, and they're like, it's not something that's like super important. It's something silly that they want to connect with and show you. But it's like, okay, they think it's important. Therefore, it's important to me. Put the shit down and just be in the moment with like your kids. Like, like it's, they grow so fast, and like I've made it a point. I lost Cindy when Noah was like just born, right? So I did this before too. Like I remember, it was my job at night to put the kids to bed, and I'll probably get in trouble for this. I know you're not supposed to, it's bad for your teeth or whatever, or like feeding my 2 little guys their bottle and just being in a dark room and just feeling how small they were in my arms and just feeling them go to sleep. And then, they're asleep, you burp them, and then you place them in the bed and just thinking, wow, like they're going to grow so fast, right? So like spending the time in those moments, like it sounded like you had some really awesome times with your father-in-law. That's really special. Like that's important. That's why in moments where, that I love that you guys followed rival football teams. It's great. So that's like in those moments, he's still there with you. You know what I mean? Because you spent the time and energy to be there. And I think, I apologize. I feel that. I feel it.
Yeah, no, it's, again, like on the weekend, like trying to speak and breaking down 4 or 5 times, like that's, you don't think in the moment. And I remember those 30 minutes leading up to it. That's harder than actually speaking. And then in the moment, you don't care. You know what? Yeah. If I break down, if I stutter, my voice cracks, it's like none of this matters. And it's just like slow down, stay in the moment, make those real connections.
I think that's mission critical too. Is like, don't hold it in. I think a lot of people make the mistake, and I think there is like there is 100% a mind-body connection to holding in emotion, like even being happy. Like how better do you feel, if there's a happy moment and you're with somebody that you care about and you're just like laughing together. Like there's no better moment in life where you're with somebody that you love or that's a great friend, which is also you love, and laughing. You know what I mean? Like there's no better time. And also like allowing yourself to be sad. And I think as guys, like you're called like a lesser of a man for like being able to express how you feel. Like, fuck that. Like, I'm sorry, but we're human too, right? I think there's this kind of this illusion over time, and it's not seen as weakness. I think it's seen as strength if you're able to like hold your head high and be yourself and allow yourself to talk about how you feel. Like, there's a major problem. I think that like I think guys are making a good move at it to like to just to allow ourselves to talk. Like, this is great. Like, I just love this conversation. I knew we were going to get into this, Matt, so this is awesome. Like the whole, and we're in the industry too, right? And I think a lot of the industry of like the highest suicide rate in like out of any other profession. And I think that is a lot because people are isolated, and and dealing with things on their own and not coming forward and talking to their colleagues about like the shit that they're in and you know, the challenges that they're facing. Like, you can't do that by yourself. I'm sorry. And where it becomes very difficult, especially with loss, is self-isolation, like receding into oneself and trying to grieve by yourself. You can't do that. Like, that is like so self-destructive. And I saw my dad basically fall apart after my sister passed. Like, just one of these guys that not able to express and bring out like how that made him feel. You know what I mean? Like, he'd be the type of guy that you know, it's like, Dad, how are you doing today? Like, like on a phone call or whatever, like, you know, like how's everything going? And he would be like, well, the weather's really nice and da 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 da, and like, okay, that's the weather. Like, but I think like that was his way of like expressing how he was feeling. You know, like people have a different way of doing that. But I, you know, like especially with my son, like if he's upset, like I allow him to be. Like that's my parenting style. Like if he's crying, like I don't like say stop crying. I think that's like you are just destroying your human child's ability to be like to discover their own emotions. You know, like, so it's okay, like Matt, like it's like you are not an oddball, and I think you know that. Like,
this is my actually, and it's funny because if you ever spoke with coworkers of mine or people who know me well, and it's when I go quiet, that's when you need to worry. Is that
yeah,
my team members, like I'm that outspoken, I'm the squeaky wheel. I'll say how I'm feeling.
yeah,
It comes from a place of passion, not from a place of just disgust. It's usually because I'm fired up about something because I care what I'm doing. So,
yeah,
so two times I caught myself, and is that I was so worried about being the calm person for the last 6 to 8 weeks, where my mother-in-law, my wife especially, is that trying to, okay, they can, whatever emotion, I know it's not a personal thing, like whatever works for you guys grieve, and I'll just, you know what, be the rational, level-headed one.
yeah,
Then come to find out, both of them and my family were very worried, more so about me because I was being calm and collected. And that's not who I am. I'm usually the emotional one. I'm usually the one that is fired up or outspoken, again, from a point of purpose, a point of passion. So I was spending energy trying to be calm to make them not have one more thing to worry about when they were then worrying about me because I was calm. So that's where that communication of like, just again, as long as there's no agenda to why you're being a certain way,
yeah,
there's no outcome that you're looking for. Sure, again, I was trying to be calm for a reason, but I wasn't trying to impress someone by being macho. Is that I was like, okay, you know what? I'm usually the spotlight.
mm-hmm.
I'm the outgoing one at family things. Like, time for me to step back. This is not about me. This is not time for that witty humor all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pick and choose a spot for a joke still. I know there's certain things that I catch myself saying, oh, and it's like, no. Like, let's just say this. Let's talk about it. Let's address that. And I think that's important in relationships and business, especially. Is
Yeah.
that my team, if I get, and you know, my manager, Carmen, if I ever stop talking, I told her that's the time you need to really sit down with me. Because I will be, and I just went to a clinic yesterday. Again, I spend most of my time behind the camera being where I am and in our industry, but I went to a clinic yesterday in Nova Scotia for 3 hours and just spent it with 4 admin people who were using the software. And I got more out of that, is that interaction, or just seeing people use it, and to be able to, again, from a point of the educational point of view, like, tell me what's wrong, what's not working. And they had a list of 10 to 12 things. And man, I loved the organization, and they came from it in a respectful way. But 10 of those things, maybe 6 or 7 of them, were just educational logic of how we actually do something. Some of them were legit issues, but not saying like, oh, it's broken. Oh yeah, you shouldn't do that. They're just being real and just reminding ourselves, especially from the business point of view, is that I enjoy that relationship building. No software in any industry is perfect. The way that you use it is going to be different. Don't just trust necessarily a metric on something, or because you wanted to hit 1,000 of this or 200 of that doesn't mean that it's successful or failing. So you need to actually understand what's going on. So just that meeting yesterday, and I was lucky enough to go to the ODA conference a couple of weeks ago in Ontario, and to have 3 or 4 clients come up to us or come up to see me, like that to me meant more than being there to try and sell stuff. And I know the sales team doesn't want to hear that, but I wanted to go show that appreciation for the people behind it. So I can't just sit here and not have a relationship with somebody because it's not who I am. It's not what I want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, I love the face-to-face stuff. It's great. Like it's, you should be sitting here, buddy. Like you're on the other side of the country. Like people don't realize how large Canada is geographically too. Like 4 time zones away. It's crazy. But yeah, with business, it's an interesting thing. Like especially, you know, you're educating somebody on how to use a tool and the emotions that come there and like the frustration. And then like managing that part of it is like just as important as the educational piece of it, right? You know, in a lot of cases, right? A lot of the like frustration will come in like the lack of sort of the education part on how to use the tool and how it fits in the practice and stuff like that. Let's kind of dive into that. Like how are things going on the CareCru front? You know, how's work going? How's you know, how are things on you know, things are flying, keeping going. Like
yeah, absolutely. So for those who don't know, so CareCru is a patient engagement software. So we'll attach to your practice management software. There's of course multi competitors out there, but we all do a series of certain things the same, and we all have our own pros and cons. But CareCru itself, so almost 4 years here, which is a bit crazy to think that time has gone. Like a lot of software companies, is that we just continue to grow in regards to the features that we can provide, the adaptability into certain things, customizability. So again, to be able to take such a large suite of products, to be able to try and tailor this to the leadership of a large organization of 300 clinics, to be able to take this to an office manager, to take this to an admin person, is that it's always such a difficult task with any of these things to say, okay, we can do 1,000 things, but narrowing it down to those key focus points for those people that you're in front of. So to me, in the first episode we ever did together, I think it was called Support from Experience, is that's how I can drive home the value of what this tool does, is because I've been there, I've lived it. And to be able to say, it's not just, oh, here's a tool, go do it this way. It's understanding how they use that. And I always said, like, I've been in 2 practices in my 10 years in clinic, and I had a very new build, tech friendly, and I went into one that's been around for 30 years that everything was paper copy. And seeing the probably 500 clinics that I've worked with in 4 years, to say, if I was to step back into a clinic today, we have a very powerful tool, but it needs to be able to, I think, quickly adapt to those who are using it for whatever reasons. Right now, I think the struggle from any tech product or any software is that time taken or given to those who are using it directly is not as dedicated as it should be. If you are implementing something that is going to be engaging with your patients on everything that you do, if your team is going to be using that, the lifeblood of your team who's scheduling appointments, to allowing patients to request stuff online, to that two-way chat, which is now so important, to digital forms, make sure they know how to use it. Don't make this a lunch hour, 30-minute session where they're multitasking while they eat and while they're trying to respond to emails. Find time in your schedule and say, you know what, we can sacrifice 1 hour of chair time where we can just block this off, put the phones on hold, make sure these people actually understand not only what it's supposed to do, but how it's working. And a good example yesterday, I went to a clinic where I just looked at a metric to say, oh, these guys are killing it with this feature. They've used it 200 times. Come to find out they hadn't used it in about 30 days because we had a little glitch of some form that impacted the way that they did it. So they hadn't been using it. But again, I just saw a number to say the volume looked high, so they must love it. And no, they said, no, Matt, actually, we haven't because of this reason. Able to correct that on the spot. But that's where you get that feedback from a product point of view. That's where I take that value. And I just had a meeting with our leadership team and said, like, guys, we need to get more in front of these people. And it's tough. I mean, you're a software company. You need to deliver. You need to add volume. You need to be able to support it. I get that. And I'm in very rural part of the country, so it's limited what I can impact. But it's such a rewarding feeling to be able to go into a clinic in Nanaimo, one in somewhere in Northern Ontario, be in one here in Nova Scotia yesterday, all in the same day, and see how people are using products and softwares. And again, everybody does something of some form. There's continual competition, but I try and pride myself on our team, and we're building our support team with direct dental experience team members, which is right away, you bring that guard down. Oh, you know what? I've done this. You know what? I picked up that call. I've had that angry patient. I've had a patient show up for an appointment that got a wrong reminder. Those are those things where if you can empathize right away, you put yourself in those shoes, those are the people that are going to remember that, I think. They're going to say, you know what? Let me reach out. Let me not just stay silent. Let's have those conversations, because it makes our product better, makes our team better. And me in my role specifically, again, I can be that outspoken voice to say, like, guys, like, we need to do this, or look what we're doing really, really well. We need to highlight this for other people. Because to say, I'm going to sell you an apple, but you already have 3 apples, we need to show what it is that we're doing better. And I think all companies struggle with that. I mean, you're in that same similar space. Is that?
Yeah.
It's that's the challenge, but that's what keeps you going. That's what keeps you wanting to innovate but also, again, remain true to the core value, is that I am a dental employee who moved into the tech space, and I've never really changed that. It's like, you know what? I want to bring that experience, so that makes our product better, that makes our clients better, and again, that makes me better overall.
You know what? Like like a little bit about CareCru. It's like we can dive into that, but there's like so many things that it does. It's such an awesome tool, and I understand like there's probably very few people out there that like are utilizing the full suite that CareCru can provide. It's like a really dynamic and powerful machine that you could like bolt on to your business, that is your dental practice, and drive that forward. But like to your point about like the disconnection in between the exec level, the decision making level, and the front line end of the business, I have been in, like, I've worked long enough now to have seen examples of like corporate dropping the ball and not like being disconnected. There's no feedback loop from the front end trenches where the magic happens of the business. And there's these weird decisions that are made like with that disconnect. And I've seen large companies fail because of that, like with some some of their strategy and some of their initiatives. It really is like all the companies that thrive have sort of that wire connected to what's going on the front line of the business. And Matt, they're so like the folks at CareCru are so fortunate to have you do what you do. Like I've seen and heard you talk to clinics, and you're just like fantastic. You're an excellent communicator, and like because of that, an educator. And yeah, like the fact that you've like have had in the trenches experience of being on the clinical side too, you can like empathize and like see, deal with sort of that like be proactive, I would say, in the fact that, okay, you're going to face this. Here's your solution before it actually becomes an issue. But like, yeah, like how, you are on the other side. Like, how does that work for you then? Like, making sure that you're on front of everybody, or like regular check-ins. Like, how does that work from your position?
Yeah, internally it's a struggle. I mean, it's again, our team, it's across the country from Nova Scotia through to Victoria. So we have people everywhere, different time zones. I think we're on 4 time zones across the country, where internally, again, that communication from our teams to keep that information flowing, to be able to action things quickly. Very thankful for my team where I can work in my Atlantic time zone. I'm not pressured to be available 24/7. Is that we have people across the country who can deal with the different scenarios at different times. Clientele wise as well, again, it's making sure that they're aware of, what it is that we can do from specific key members. But because we do a lot of things as a group, as we do these onboarding trainings, as we implement things, we usually have one or two of our team members on every call. Do we need that? No, but it provides that continuity when they do come in to support, when they do want to add a feature or they want to level up on something, is that they know all of these people. It's not just one person, and it's also not just random people all the time. Is that we're a small team. We try and have fun with it. When you're having support tickets, throwing in jokes here and there, like, just that's what keeps it fun. It is difficult at times, of course, because a lot of stuff, again, that happens on the West Coast is that I get up in the morning to 50 messages that have happened between 7 to 9 my time. Vice versa, they get up and they see a boatload of emails from me. They fix this now, do this now. So it'll never quite balance out because of the time change. But the fact that we can provide that coverage is cool. It's that it's not like, okay, we're an Eastern time zone company where that clients then have to adapt to that. We have people available everywhere whenever you need to do that. So, but again, for the 4 years, just the growth, the change, the dental industry is such a beast.
Yes.
It's that you're trying to get attention from people, is that we think, oh, you know what, people are living and breathing this software all day, every day. It's like, no, this is a key part, of course, and it needs to be seamless, but they're dealing with everything.
Oh yeah.
From imaging to AI. Is that sometimes I forget to say, oh, that's right, we're just a small piece of the industry, but I feel like, again, we can provide so much for different levels. And I think that's the key. Those CEOs who want just numbers and metrics and reports, is that valuable? Of course. But we also need those people who are in the trenches. Again, that a simple message, a simple verbiage, or a quick tool that can make sure that schedule is filled. It is, again, if there's anybody out there using every single suite of the feature, that's tough. Like, there's nobody doing that, and they don't need to be doing that. But you can step in from day one and say, okay, here are those key things that you need to focus on from your role. That's where I think we're thriving right now, is that we have really smart analytic people. We have great product team. We have hands-on people, again, to say, okay, let's deal with the front end. So,
and one really cool aspect about, CareCru, the entire suite is, and we're doing this all day too, is like a practice if what's important to them is the analytical pieces, they can actually just purchase that part of the software and not everything else. They don't have to, so there's like a discounted rate to just having pieces. Obviously the practice is going to benefit from having the full suite and knowing how to use it. But that's also like a good sort of like gateway for them to get started. And we've seen that too with reselling the product is, somebody might start with the online booking portion and then work into the analytical piece. There's a lot of practices out there that aren't like looking at dashboards like they should be. Like, they don't definitively know the health of their practice based on an analytical snapshot. To me, that's like flying an airplane without all your information. Like, I think it's mission critical to running a business. I was talking to a really great consultant out here on the West Coast, Stephanie. She says, like, even if you are just glancing at your metrics and not taking a full like granular dive into it on a regular basis, just kind of looking at reporting, you're going to improve those numbers. I think just on the fact that you're aware that something might be in the red and you're double clicking on that. Like, even from like a fee guide standpoint as well, like understanding where you're sitting there is critical. There's, and how you're billing. And, are you leaving, especially when it comes to hygiene, are you leaving, billable hours? And I sound like an accountant, like on the table, right? Like Stephanie had a story where there's, the hygiene team was leaving, like on a year basis, they were leaving $300,000 worth of revenue on the table just because they weren't, she discovered by looking at reporting that they weren't billing properly. So I think, where you can make improvements obviously with workflow and efficiency on that front by building systems and all that. I think to get to the next level after those systems are in place are understanding your analytics and your data that's being driven out of the practice. So, and obviously us working and selling marketing services and products is like, that is like our feedback loop. We want to see what's happening on that front end as leads come in. Are we maximizing our marketing ROI? So like, the argument in not having such a tool like that on the front end is, you are flying blind essentially. And this isn't just like a pitch. This is reality. So, how many, I want to dive into some stories that you've kind of discovered on that end too, like in understanding like the metrics side of things. And I'm sure you've uncovered with folks like some holy shit moments, like where like they might have not understood.
Yeah, and it's kind of twofold. There is the direct front end employee who may be dealing with outstanding hygiene recare. So just to show them, and I ask this question before we go into a lot of training calls, asking them if they know what percentage of their active patient base could come in today if you message them or they call. I would say 1 out of 10 are within 10 to 15% of that number.
Right.
They're blown away by the opportunity that right now they may think, oh, you know what, I probably have 10%, 9%. The average, it's 20 or higher, most people that they have due and unscheduled.
And I'll quickly add to this, like the software is just pulling from the practice management software. This isn't some magic hocus pocus like stuff. This is like the reality that these folks are facing, seeing these live numbers that are actualities. And I'll let you continue.
Yeah, no, I like to break it down in 2 levels because it does go granular. But also, I like to break this down in a very simple term to say, this patient was in, they're due, they can come in today. Because you have, and again, this is just pulling data that they already have to say, okay, you know what, there's 600 people, there's 800 people that right now could come in and fill this chair for the next year. If they knew about the opportunity, maybe they didn't know, maybe they're just, of course, you're not going to have all of those. So that number is always eye-opening to people. And I like to see, like, do you know your numbers? And I'll call out again to say, you know what, mine was probably in the 50s when I first started because there was no automation. I didn't know what I was doing early on. I also didn't have anybody to ask. And now we have this technology that's pointing this out. But then on the granular level, so we've introduced some new reporting in the last 6+ months that blows my mind, where every report you can deep dive into the actual breakdown. So how many of those patients are due late? How many of those have treatment? How many of that treatment is major treatment? What is the outstanding possibility or opportunity? But also taking into account things that have been declined or not accepted. So not just showing you, okay, this is what you could do. Or you know what, but 60% of this was actually declined by the patient. So it's not showing false hope in regards to some of these numbers to say you're $1 million in possible revenue. So it allows you to really drill that down. It also really calls them out that they need to clean up their data. There are so many people out there that have not cleaned up charts in a very long time. They don't know what those numbers mean, or when those numbers come in, you can train them on everything, but if it's not accurate, then it's not really doing you any good. So we do a really good job of pulling that data. We make it very visually appealing for those who want to go deep and like spreadsheet level, but also a lot of just cool UI things to say, like, here's a nice bar graph. Here's a simple metric where you can compare month over month, year over year, without going too deep, without needing to necessarily say, okay, give me all of these. But if you want to know the procedure codes based on specific month per provider and billable hours, again, the metrics that we have been able to pull with some of this new stuff is the next level that's really bringing people to us. That's now the gateway. It used to be the online scheduling tool, which is, again, I still think we do that better than anybody.
I'm biased, but I agree.
The reporting allows you to add something with zero change management. Let us attach. Let us show you the health of your practice. Then usually it leads into, okay, let's start with scheduling. Oh my God, that was easy. Okay, let's move to the full feature. And that's why, as you mentioned earlier, very rarely is it all at once. So we have a lot of larger clients who we structure it that way. We attach to what we call intelligence. Okay, look at your data. Then we add in scheduling. They go live with scheduling for a few weeks, and then we go pro. So that first thing, zero change management. Then small change, not even change management. We're just adding something new. We're not replacing anything you're doing with scheduling. We're going to add this on to what you're already doing. So you have an idea of what CareCru is going to provide you, and then you work with that last piece. Okay, we're going to actually disrupt what you've been doing for 5 years, 10 years. We're going to change everything, but you already have a basic introduction. You know us, you know the way that we teach. Let us do this for you. We'll be there to support it. And once they get that full suite, again, whether that's CEO level or that's just somebody who started 3 weeks ago, there's instant value there for all of those people. So I take pride in what it is we've done. But it's a tough industry. Is that every day on LinkedIn you see, oh, this is coming soon to this competitor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
sucks you in. So when you guys do these different marketing pieces, I mean, everybody in that industry is like, okay, you guys you piqued my interest. What is it you're bringing?
yeah,
And sometimes they say, okay, we need to up our game, and sometimes you say like, oh, we've had that. So you know what? Let's highlight that, which I think as we've now really developed a very robust full suite of things, we are ready to take that offensive next, is to say, okay, you know what? We may not be the biggest name out there, but it's coming. We're starting to build. So I'm excited for that moment.
Name shame. The proof is in the pudding. Like sometimes I'd say, there's not enough Matts in CareCru. That's an issue. Like if there's more Matts, like it would be a global company already, right? They need to clone you. That's what they need to do. Just to like another point, and this was kind of ringing around my brain, and I want to get this point out there, is like where this will sort of strike home the importance of understanding your numbers. Like we're talking about like active patients. How many practice sales I've seen over my tenure, my term, my dental experience, where a new practice purchaser purchases a practice based on these metrics that aren't real, like buying a practice based on there's 1,200 patients on the ledger, when in fact there's only 300 or 150 to 300 active patients, and they're purchasing the practice based on these inflated numbers. If we're talking like $1 million, like a really, a back-breaking mistake on a purchase, leaving these buyers in this like really vulnerable spot of they got to pay the bills, but the practice isn't going to provide that for them. Know your numbers. Like, I'm sorry, but if you're not an analytical person, have somebody within your reach that understands it. If it's a cousin, if it's an accountant or somebody, or if it's somebody like Matt sitting down and diving into your CareCru dashboard and really saying, identifying the opportunity or the voids, or it's opportunity at the end of the day. Like, so important. Like automation. Like, how important is it to automate the front end so that the front end team could be more patient facing too? Like, there should be sort of like this catered, like if you don't have sort of automation at the front end and you're just leaving it up to your team at the front end to manage things in this, like with their own systems, like you're not going to beat a computer. I'm sorry, when it comes to like organizing. Your mind is only it could only hold so much information, but like with like being catered information to act on, like so that like you're efficient, and like the cancellation, like you're setting out like a mass, fill the missed chair, like the opportunity there, like you can't. And then be patient facing, which is like, I think the most important job of the front end is to be patient facing. Like, you should have some sort of tool. And like, obviously we're biased. It should be CareCru. But, how important is automation, Matt? Like,
also, there's one story that always sticks out for me, and this was a couple of months ago, where talk about full automation is you never want to remove the face-to-face experience. That's not the goal, but there are people who do not want any of that from a patient point of view. So through the software, a patient was able to, after hours, request an appointment in real time, based on real-time availabilities from the schedule. So I think the request came in at about 10:45 at night. Practice gets it the next morning without even needing to make contact with the patient, accept the request because it was filling a hole that was there. So one, they fill that hole, automatically sends the patient, and this was a new patient, a feature called New Patient Welcome, where it sends them a detailed welcome message. So not just, Mark, you're booked at 2:00. It's welcome to the clinic, first time. You know what? Here's some parking instructions. Oh, the new patient form's attached. Complete this prior to arrival. They book that. They fill out the form. They come in for their appointment. That first appointment ends up leading into a $10,000 case. And there was no human contact made besides the patient going to the website and clicking a button.
Yeah.
And those scenarios to say that patient at 10:45 at night, whatever that time was able to do all of this. The only action required by anyone at the office was able to hit accept on a request that found a real-time availability based on, again, those settings. And this patient came in and that patient had everything they needed without needing to do it during office hours, without needing to do anything where they needed to go back and forth. It was fully automated. And
so you're telling me that on that one automation, they paid for their software for the year with that one patient.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
that's the other
no-brainer. And also too, like with the argument when it comes to marketing ROI, you're 22x less likely to have that patient become a patient of record if they are not handled within 5 minutes. So 10:00 at night, there's nobody on the phone lines at that time. So having a connection to that patient as soon as they're clicking and a response to that and a automated thing that goes out and welcomes them, like you are in effect reaching them within that golden 5 minutes and they're coming to be a patient. Like, sure, some people will digitally book things and not show up and whatever. That's on setting up the automations properly. And not just, obviously there needs to be some human interaction there. But like, what if they didn't have that? That patient would have moved on to another clinic that got a reaction within the 10 minutes that he was searching for that appointment at 10:00 at night. That's when everybody's has the bloody time to book these things and research these things. Is kids are in bed, dinner's done, they're in bed flipping through their phone when they should be sleeping. Like you need something in place to address like 2025. Like you need automations at the front and you need the buckets to capture these people. And, as like a, rooted in a marketing company, like it's great. We're gonna blast off this strategy, but like the front end is like the most. If marketing is marketing, like the front end is sales. Like it's sales tools. It's a sales tool to then capitalize on that marketing spend. Your front end team are they should be part, like baked into the brand of the practice. They're answering the phone. Their foundational piece being the vision of the practice. There's no scripting. It should be this like real baked in identity when it comes to it. And then with the tools that are in place, you can brand all those things out too, right? Like it's not just this, this weird email that goes out, like their logos and everything. It's all programmable, right?
Absolutely. Fully sort of white glove customized to your clinic. So again, you have full control over the graphic, the wording, everything that goes out. So, and my sign off to all of this for people is that regardless of what you're using, if you're using CareCru as well, listen to this, is that make sure you're getting in front of these people to ask the questions. Don't just have something and think that it's working fine. Ask this. If there's an issue, why did this message go out? How do I better engage patients? Oh, my online scheduling, we're not showing as many availabilities. Oh, that's right. I added new providers. So constantly ask these questions. I mean, we have live support on our thing, or you reach out to us. My role specifically is called practice success. And that's because it's not just implement and go. Our teams are to continually proactively outreach to say, you know what, Mark, I noticed you hired a few dentists. Did you know you could do this? And all of a sudden there's 40 more hours in your month of June that are in your schedule available. So constantly push the envelope of what they can do. If it doesn't do it yet, most companies are going to try and do it because they don't want you to leave or they want you to stay. So encourage that. Again, from a respectful point of view, of course, is that that's the other thing as well, is that because I've been on both sides, I've been that angry person to just say it's not working. It's like, oh, no, okay, step back. Hey, Matt, you know what? This isn't deemed to work. Like, can you take a look at it? Maybe there's an issue. Maybe it's logic. Maybe it's setup. But again, because we want that relationship with you, we also want to see that reciprocating as well. Is that that's important, is that you make sure you keep these relationships with these companies, because those are ones that are going to make sure they grow with you, they adapt with you, they reach out in regards to, you know what, we're thinking about doing this, would you be interested in a pilot? What are your thoughts here? And we get more feedback from people like that help build the product, that help move it forward. So don't just accept what you have now. Again, I don't care what that is, but make sure that you understand it. Make sure you're all constantly reaching out to make sure it's working for you, because I guarantee you there's some tweaks or some tips that you probably don't know about with constant evolving softwares that keep doing new and better things, that it's just hard to keep up.
And these things pay for themselves. Like, case in point with that one story, and I hear like obviously, we're working and we truly believe in the software, and it's amazing at what it does. But like your investment, this is one of these investments that you need to make for so many reasons, and we dove into all those reasons. So if there's anybody out there that's interested, obviously that you can reach out to us or go to CareCru's website. You can search them out. We're more than happy to bring folks through a conversation or a discovery call, and if it's a good fit. Matt, this has been like one of those conversations that I thought we were gonna have. We started in one area and got to another, and I really appreciate the hell out of you, man. Like, I'm sorry for your loss, and what's going on for the summer? What's your plans for the weekend?
That's the one thing we've decided, is that let's step back from major planning right now. There's a lot of shakeup coming in regards to, so typically we'd have a bigger trip planned right now. We don't yet. We do plan to do something, but again, we're not setting ourselves up right now for anything without getting some solid groundwork now laid for what the next 6 months, 12 months look like. So we've been trying to keep it a bit open-ended, which is a change for us. We're very structured people. We like to have that item on the calendar to look forward to, but we are more in the moment right now. So kind of focus on that. Weather is finally turning here in Nova Scotia, which is sad to say as we enter the midpoint of the year, but now we'll make the most of it. So I appreciate just the chance to, again, chat with you, whether this was on camera or not. That first 30 minutes or so, just being real. Again, this is stuff that I need to hear, that you benefit from. So hopefully there's people here who get that same vibe, to say, you know what, it's okay. Talk about this stuff. Be okay with setbacks, with changing direction, with making sure that you have these connections somewhere. And that can be in a social form. Again, my social media, that was who I was. And then all of a sudden I haven't posted in 3 months because I stepped back to say, okay, let's quiet things for a little bit. Will I go back to it? Probably. But it's one of those things that you don't need to always do what you've been doing because you think you have to. Evaluate that. If it's important to you, you'll return to it. So I look forward to another version of this. We're going to, again, make this a year in recap, hopefully later in the year.
No, I was just going to say, Matt, you need to book the next one. Like, book it. Like, you got the link. Schedule yourself in. I want to.
Yeah, in person. So maybe we'll try and find.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah, that logistics there is tough. I'll meet you halfway in Winnipeg.
We'll see how the monthly revenue is going before we can put something in a marketing budget. But
there you go. There's your next trip. You're coming to the West Coast. There you go. We've got an Nanaimo this way too. Matt, this has been absolutely awesome. It's been great to catch up. I'm thinking of you. I'm always here for you. You need to chat. I'm like, just send me a message. And thanks for your time today, my friend.
Oh, same to you. Same to you.